Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. 9:23 a.m. news and views on Salam Media. And we here at Salam Media are very, very proud and happy with a very successful tour, a speaking tour of South Africa of the human rights lawyer and also the lawyer representing Afia Siddiqui. We promoted this tour, and it is entitled hashtag Bring Afia Home. And of course, I attended one of the lectures being part of the Salam Media family, and I was truly blown away by the dedication and the hard work that has been put in, dedication, commitment, and very, very hard work that Clive Smith, the lawyer, the human rights lawyer, he's put in over the past 3 years to bring Afia home. So to Salam Media, all our member partners, everybody at all that was involved in this amazing tour in South Africa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept one and all's du'as and efforts, and inshallah, sooner rather than later, Afia will be back home, and lots and lots of thanks and support and admiration to the British human rights lawyer Clive Smith, who lives between, he's also US citizenship, so he's got dual citizenship. And yeah, it was a really successful tour. Thanks to one and all for your efforts. Having said that, we now come across another story, and that is the issue around the free Asiya Andrabi. And this is Kashmir's call for justice. And I must say, this is the first time, and I am a bit embarrassed to be saying this, and that is why I'm pleased to have Salman Khan on air with us this morning to say that I've never heard of Asiya Andrabi. And Salman Khan, who is the chairman of the South African Kashmir Action Group, is here to tell us about this amazing sister, another Muslim sister who's been incarcerated for her fight for the truth, for justice. So we have another fight on our hands. Brother Salman Khan, Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear sister Julie Patel, as well as all the beautiful listeners of your radio station. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to be honest. I've never heard of Asiya Andrabi, and I'm glad we have you online, and I'm glad that you are pushing for her to be released. Who is Asiya Andrabi?
All right, okay, yeah, I think it's very honest of you, and there's nothing to be shy about it. At least you are the only platform out of all the Muslim radio station who is highlighting the plight of Kashmiri people for many years, along with Azharwadi as well as Inayat Wadi, Fonchi, and your team. So may Allah reward you for that.
Ameen.
Asiya Andrabi, along with the sister Nahid and Nahid Nasreen and Sufi Femida, they have been put behind the bar. Among them, there are over 37,000 young youth, and the leaders of the Kashmir resistance fighters has been behind the bar. Not many people know about it in South Africa, but this is a very specific case of Asiya Andrabi. She's 60-year-old. She is the founder of a first women resistance wing, Dukkari Millat. Dukkari Millat means the daughters of the nation, or daughter of the Islamic, the nation. And her work has always been one to regenerate the Islamic values and fight against the growing propaganda of the Bollywood, how, they have been nurtured in the values of Kashmir. And also, on the same time, she is also the freedom fighter, and making sure that the Kashmir issue is not only been fought by the brothers, but also by the female counterpart. Like the Dukkare Millat is equivalent to the ANC woman, and she is very much of like our Winnie Mandela. The pretext of this whole issue is that India does not like and call a terrorist organization the minute they find out any any resistance forces are taking shape. So her arrest happened just after the demise, the shahadat of Burhan Wani, when the whole world was paying attention and she was very active on a social media, and they put her under the UPA law, which is the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act in India, which provides impunity to the armed forces that anybody talking about the justice in Indian occupied Kashmir, they will be put behind the bar. And she, along with her two more, the sisters, Fahmida, Sufi Fahmida, and Nahid Nasreen, they were put behind the bar. It's an 8 year long trial without any conviction, without any support. At least we have for Afia outside some British lawyer fighting. But here she is. She's not even offered a counselor. She is not even offered any legal support or anything. She has been put behind the without any evidence. Now, on the 15th of January, after waiting of the 8 year, the conviction or the trial come to the end, and the ruling was given by the additional, the NIA, which is the National Investigative Authority, the sessional judge, additional session judge Chandraji, and in the 264 pages long verdict was written, and page, I think the paragraph 76 spell out that there is no direct link that she has committed any direct violence or any act of terrorism. That was she was put behind the bar with along with the two other sisters. That she is not implicated, but on the second line, it says that she is directly or indirectly implicated in supporting some organization. Those they call it a terrorist, and we call it a resistance factor, that she's been supportive of them. So under that pretext, the judgment, because it's such a national momental, and what we call it a conviction, and the sentence, that they have to defer until the 2nd of February. The sentencing will be heard given on the 2nd of February. And we pray, inshallah ta'ala, that the sentencing is not the life or imprisonment or execution. That's what because at the moment, the resistance is getting stronger and stronger and getting international traction. And of course, even in South Africa, is not much of the coverage, but at least we have some sort of a one Muslim radio station besides many other Muslim radio stations, those who shy away to be supporting the Indian regime in South Africa. And you are the brave soldier, you Inayat Azharwadi and Zakrawadi, those who stand up with the sisters of Kashmir. So it is again the case of injustice. It's the case defiance of the international law. It's a case of a defiance of even Indian constitution, because there is 120 NGOs. Those are objecting her arrest for the last 8 years, and also watching it very carefully how her sentence will be done.
So, Salman, dear sister Andrabi, Asiya Andrabi, we know that she led this, separatist movement. It's all about wanting independence for Kashmir, is it not? Which also indicates to me that she has been detained by the Indian authorities. Would I be correct in thinking that?
100%, you hit the nail on the coffin. Most of the people have been abducted by force. I mean, if you have a small, like a Port Elizabeth, small territory, and you have 1 million soldiers, your movement has been monitored. Every 50 meters, there is one soldier standing, and then the brave people like Asiya Andrabi, Nahid, Nasreen, and Sufi, but they stood up and they could not see constantly. The reason they were very vocal on the social media, when they see the young boy of 22-year-old Burhan Wandi and many others, those were like fighting the freedom fight, put put down mercilessly by under the pretext of they are the foreign terrorists, and Burhan Wani, the Mannan Wani, and many other. Those were the killed in 2019 and until today. They were all youngsters, those who had enough of seeing the raping, maiming, killing, abduction, persecution. I was talking last 2 weeks ago on another radio station, national radio station, and they say, is it true that Indian government doesn't allow people to go to the mosque on the Friday? And I say, this is going on for 76 years. There is no freedom of speech, no freedom of speech. And if I only tell you that for the last 25, 30 years, there has never been an Eid. There are no Eid guys allowed to open because they fear that there will be revolution. So they don't allow even the Eid namaz and any big Jummah congregation in a Jamia masjid. You must leave the namaz at home. And if you have somebody is a funeral and an elderly died, or any leader die, you dig the hole in the back of the house and you actually bury the thing because are so scared. Even Burhan Wani name, India paid billions of US dollar to the social media to make sure that his picture and his name cannot be mentioned on any social media. So even from his grave, this youngster is still sending the killing wave to the Indian government.
What exactly? I seem to remember back in the day that Kashmir used to be the tourist destination for people around the world. It was started as being beautiful, very mountains. Back then it was dubbed as the Indian Switzerland, or the Switzerland on the Indian continent, Asia. Yeah, on the Indian continent. And I've heard stories about how beautiful, that part of, well, Kashmir as a whole, how beautiful it is. And lots of people, there was lots of tourism back in the day because of what you've just outlined now regarding the very bad, the bad way Muslims are being treated in Kashmir. It almost sounds like a Zionist entity is at play here. What exactly is the situation like on the ground for ordinary Kashmiris on a day-to-day basis? What's the tourism scene look like? And is it safe to visit Kashmir?
Well, you have a lot of questions here, and I think it needs maybe 3 hours of the program. So let me just quickly cover. Um, the Kashmir is one of the most stunning. I mean, British journalists went there and they say, they were taken by the Indian Tourism Authority. And look how beautiful it is. So yeah, it's definitely this is the heaven on the earth. But it is also what I saw in Jammu and Kashmir is the biggest open jail. One of the biggest open jail in the valley in the highest altitude of the mountain. It is lovely. It's beautiful. It's got a natural beauty, serenity, you name it, historical connection, and so on and on. Unfortunately, the people of Kashmir are not reaping the fruit of that tourism, the income or whatsoever. Then you ask me about the ground realities. For the last 76 years, since the independence from the British Maharaja and the arrival of the Indian forces in 1984, since then that they illegally occupying the territory of 86,000 square kilometers, and United Nations resolution is still standing for the free and fair plebiscite. The life has no normalcy. I must tell you that none of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, 30 articles, or ICCPR, which is International Covenant on the Civil and Social Life, or the political economic life of the people, 50 articles, none of them, like right to leave, right to association, right to schooling, right to breathing, and right to the access to the information, right to the association, the religious freedom. None of them exist. The school boys cannot go in a group of four because they call it a mob. One of the boy was killed because he refused to leave the hands of other fellow of his classmate. He said, "I'm going to walk with my friends, two of them," and they put the gun in his mouth. He was 7 year old and he shot his
Oh,
head off. And that was Lal Chowk. If you go and you see, there was an incident in 2000, I think it was way back 2006, where the one of the whole of the village was cordoned off, called Konan Kushanpura. Middle of the night, they raided the house. They said they are looking for a terrorist, and they raided the 300 houses, cordon off the area, and the rape in front. 300 women was raped in a one night with a battalion of the Indian Army. Konan Kushan, Google it, you will see. So there are many injustices. I can tell you today that we think that we had a lockdown and we suffered. They had a double lockdown. The Indian authorities have a license to kill in a way that anybody it moved the head out of the window without their permission. They will be shot to kill. The women have to live on just a piece of a bread or a water for the child as a formula. They cannot get even a baby formula. When the baby dies, they have to make a small hole in a house, that's the yard, or the elderly who do not get the chronic medicine they get. When the Yusuf the what his name is, the Yusuf Zai, Malala Yusuf Zai, when she
mm.
was harassed by the Taliban, so-called Taliban, she was glorified internationally everywhere in the world. She was called as a national speaker in South Africa and was given a Nobel Prize. Kashmiri, my sisters, daughters get raped, murdered, and maimed on a daily basis by the Indian because they also want to go for a free education. But nobody give them even platform. Forget about the Nobel Prize. So there are a lot of injustices, and I would call upon you as a female journalist and a Muslim. The Muslim network of the women, those are supporting the Afia Siddiqui, rightly so, that she should be highlighted. But they should also be taking on to the women of Kashmir, their plight, for the Asiya Andrabi. All of you, everybody, all the Muslim women should be writing to the Sri Posa, DIRCO, and to our Human Rights Commission that you are solving the problem in Sri Lanka, Sudan, and everybody else. But because of the BRICS and your connection with the Modi, why are you not looking into the injustices happening at large? Especially, specifically, there's the issue of the unfair and unjust trial of Asiya Andrabi. I call on you as a Muslim sisters to start raising your pen. Don't raise your voice, raise your pen and write digital and send letters to the Indian embassy, send a letter to the DIRCO, send a letter to the Sri Lanka and to the United Nations and ask the very question that we're raising the issue of Afia Siddiqui, rightly so. We should be including Asiya Andrabi and all the prisoners of the Kashmiri. Those are fighting as the right to fight for self-determination. They call it separatists. I don't call them separatists. What they're asking for the right to self-determination, the United Nations resolution must be implemented. They should be given a free and fair publicized. They will decide what they want to do. They want to be there, Pakistan, India, or they want to be a separate, independent country. They have a right because that has been enshrined and accepted by the Nehru and the Gandhi and everybody else. And for the last 76 years, India's done. That's why we had 100,000 people killed and maimed. And as we talk, over 30,000 people like Asiya Andrabi are behind the jail, an unfair trial. So we ask them to provide us an access to the courts and ask Muslim Law Association, those who done a fantastic job to open the case, and maybe the women wing of the Muslim Law Association be involved and ask the question to the DIRCO, to the Indian commissioners and everybody else. That's all my message to all the greater Muslim community of South Africa.
Inshallah, Amin. And we here at Salam Media will try and keep the story alive. And we do hope you'll reach out from time to time to give us an update as to exactly what's happening with Asiya Andrabi and the Kashmiri people as a whole. So we do thank you, Salman Khan, chairperson of the South African Kashmir Action Group. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your efforts and you keep on fighting and bringing these stories to the rest of the world. Go well and salamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks for having me.
And we wrap up by reminding one and all about the Kashmiri prisoners of conscience. Detention without trial is a human rights crime. 8 years detained, still waiting for justice. Free Asiya Andrabi and all Kashmiri prisoners of conscience. That's been brought to our attention by Brother Salman Khan. So let us also wake up to the realities of other prisoners like Afia Siddiqui. Here's another one on our list, and that, of course, is Asiya Andrabi, and she, of course, is a Kashmiri prisoner. She's been detained without trial by the Indian government. It is 9:41 on News and Views, and we're moving along. A couple of more interviews to get through to continue keeping us company.